Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a huge topic, the skills you absolutely need to thrive in the future of work. You know, the world is changing, and it's changing fast. The skills that got us to this point, they're just not going to cut it anymore. So let's break down what that future actually looks like, and more importantly, the skills you'll need to really own it.
So this is the big question, right? It's on pretty much everyone's mind. With AI, automation, and all this new tech just exploding, it's totally normal to feel a little bit anxious about your career. So what skills really truly matter in this new landscape? Well, the good news is there is a clear path forward.
Okay, so check this out. The numbers from the World Economic Forum paint a really fascinating picture. It's not actually a story about jobs disappearing. It's a story about jobs transforming. For every 85 million roles that might get automated, a whopping 97 million new ones are expected to pop up. But, and this is a big but, those new roles demand a totally different set of skills. This isn't some far-off prediction, you know? This is happening right now.
What all this means is that the old career playbook, the one where you just focused on your technical skills and that was enough, is pretty much outdated. But this isn't about working harder. Not at all. It's about building a smarter framework for your own success. So let's break down what that framework actually looks like.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here, with mastering your inner world. Think about it. Before you can lead a project, before you can lead a team, you have to be able to lead yourself. This is the absolute bedrock of professional success, and it all comes down to self-governance.
So the first pillar of governing yourself is time management. Honestly, in a world with constant pings, notifications, and just endless demands on our attention, being able to consciously direct your focus is a genuine superpower. And this isn't just about making to-do lists. No. It's about being intentional, about deciding what gets your best energy and when. If you can master this, you don't just lower your stress, you actually create the space to do deep, meaningful, high-quality work.
And here's a fantastic tool for this, the Eisenhower Matrix. It's like a simple filter for everything that's screaming for your attention. If something is both urgent and important, like a crisis or a hard deadline, you do it now. Simple. Now, if it's important but not urgent, think big picture planning, learning new skills, long-term goals, you schedule it. This quadrant right here is where the real growth happens. Okay, what about stuff that's urgent but not that important? You delegate it if you can. And all those tasks that are neither urgent nor important, the pointless distractions, you just delete them. It's such a simple, powerful system to bring clarity to all the chaos.
This whole idea of self-governance goes way beyond just your calendar. Just like your time, your money is a limited resource, and it really needs a plan. I love this quote because it reframes what a budget is. It's not a restriction, it's a roadmap. It's your plan to consciously send your financial resources toward the freedom and the goals you actually want instead of just wondering where it all went at the end of the month.
All right, once you have a solid handle on your own world, the very next step is to connect effectively with everyone else's. Because let's be real, the biggest achievements are almost never solo missions. They're built on a solid foundation of collaboration and influence. And that all comes down to one thing: how well we work with other people.
Effective communication is another one of those true superpowers, and it's really made up of a few key parts. It all starts with clarity, just saying what you mean, simply and directly. Then there's empathy, really trying to see things from the other person's point of view. Next up is active listening, and this one might be the hardest of all. It means you're listening to understand, not just waiting for your turn to talk. And finally, having the tools for conflict resolution means you can turn friction into a breakthrough instead of a breakdown.
This collaborative way of thinking is the absolute key to modern negotiation. It's not a battle. The real process is about shifting your mindset from me versus you to us versus the problem. So first, you dig deeper than what people say they want to find out their core interests, what they actually need. From there, you brainstorm options together, creating a much bigger pie instead of just fighting over the existing slices. And the whole goal is to land on that common ground, the solution that gives everybody the most benefit.
So you've got your inner game strong, you're connecting well with others. This third pillar is all about applying those skills in the modern world by really embracing the tools of the digital age.
This is where we get super practical about navigating what's coming next.
So what does digital literacy even mean these days? It's not one single skill. It's more like a cluster of core competencies. Think of these 4 areas as critical pillars of modern work. You need a baseline understanding of how AI and big data are shaping decisions, the fundamentals of cybersecurity to keep things safe, the role cloud computing plays in making business possible, and the basics of digital marketing to reach people. You don't have to be a world-class expert in all of them, but having fluency across the board is key. But all that data, all that tech, it's just noise without a human brain to make sense of it all. And that is where analytical thinking becomes so incredibly important. This is our uniquely human skill, the ability to take a messy problem, break it down, analyze the pieces logically, and build a smart, data-informed solution. It's the essential skill for finding the signal in all that noise. And this isn't some abstract, high-level concept. It's a really practical process you can use every single day. Think of it like a 4-step toolkit. First, you identify the problem with total clarity. Then you gather the data from sources you can trust. Step 3 is where the real detective work begins. You analyze the information, looking for patterns, trends, and what's really causing the issue. And finally, you use that analysis to develop solutions that are targeted and that you can actually act on. It's a reliable loop you can run on literally any challenge you face. Okay, so we've covered 3 huge pillars: managing yourself, collaborating with others, and navigating the digital world. But none of them work without a power source. And that power source is the final and, I would argue, the most important piece of the entire puzzle: a mindset of lifelong learning. This is the engine that drives everything else. It shifts the whole focus from what you already know to how fast you can learn something new. At the very heart of this learning engine is the critical difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset, it sees your abilities as being set in stone. You either have it or you don't. And that leads people to avoid challenges because they're afraid to fail. But a growth mindset, it sees ability as a muscle, something you can develop and strengthen. It actually embraces challenges, it persists when things get tough, and it treats criticism as free fuel for getting better. In a world that's constantly changing, the growth mindset is really the only one that works long-term. So what does this modern learner actually look like in practice? Well, they're defined by a few key traits. They have the resilience to bounce back from failure and the agility to adapt when things change. Their work is fueled by a deep, genuine curiosity, that constant desire to ask why and explore new stuff. They've got emotional agility, which helps them manage their thoughts and feelings in a productive way. And maybe most of all, they have the self-discipline to take initiative and own their personal growth. You put these traits together, and you get a powerful, self-sustaining learning machine. So we've walked through a whole framework for not just surviving, but really thriving in the future of work. But look, knowing this stuff is only potential power. The real question is about action. So I want to leave you with this one thought to take with you. What one skill, just one, will you start building tomorrow?